it's so beautiful. I didn't look back to see the earth, didn't look down. And then all of a sudden I look up and I see a round white light in the distance. We're heading towards it. I'm so happy. I'm so euphoric. And I said at this point, hey, I understand why some people would think this is a tunnel, but it's not actually a tunnel, is it? You're actually out here, you're leaving the earth, you're in the darkness of space, stars all around, and that would make you think you're in a tunnel, but up there, that white light, you would think that's the end of the tunnel. And I don't know if I was right or wrong, but they didn't say anything, but I sensed a smile behind me. I felt like they were kind of chuckling about my constant curiosity and my comments. I don't think I was driving them crazy. You know, you hear about people that just wake up in heaven or wake up in hell with no recollection of how they got there. I was totally alert the whole time. That was really amazing to me. So I got to see the journey to heaven. So we headed towards that round white light, which I assumed was the moon. Now, you know, here's an interesting thing. On that night, they say it was new moon. You couldn't see the moon. So either I was seeing the other side of the moon, or you can see the moon when you're in your soul form, or this was Venus or Jupiter, which were both unusually close to Earth on that particular night. So I'm not sure which one it was. It was round and it was white, bright, silvery light coming from it. It's beautiful. So we flew up, just past the right side of that light. And then we headed left. And as we headed left, now the stars were closer. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so stunningly beautiful. Stars twinkling everywhere, rushing off to our right as we're heading left. And we're heading left and left and left. And it's just so beautiful just watching the heavens and the stars just going by. It's like, what a gift. I thought at that time, man strives so hard to reach space when in the end, we get there on the wings of angels and just fly right through it. It's so beautiful. On the way to heaven, which I didn't know we were going to heaven. You see, I thought that I was just going to fly with them for a while and then they were going to bring me back. And I thought, this is the greatest, most beautiful excursion everybody's ever had with angels. This is so fabulous. So I wanted to make sure I noticed everything I could notice to tell people that, hey, there's life after death. It's real. The angels are real. Blah, blah, blah. Everything I could see, I was going to see it so I could tell people. We're flying to the left, and then everything's so beautiful. I feel so weightless. I'm so happy. I feel such love radiating towards me, and I feel such love for the angels. We're obviously so happy in the presence of our angels, you know, God's angels. And I felt so protected. If there's any danger, it was kept from me. So we're flying, and all of a sudden I get this thought of weightless. I do feel weightless. And I call out to the angel, who I'm assuming is carrying me, who had spoken to me earlier. I'm like, hey, if that was my body back there, oh my goodness, what do I look like now? I was scared. I thought, do we turn into some kind of a scary looking spirit like you see in the movies, you know? And then as if to immediately get rid of those fears. You know, the angels always say, fear not, right? This was so touching to me, how fast this appeared. All of a sudden, there appeared before me a golden lit mirror-like object that was like a full-length mirror right in front of me, moving along with us as we went through the night sky. And it was lit from within with beautiful golden light. And I could see only myself with my arms outstretched. I could just see myself. I could not see any angels around me. The edges of this mirror were smoky. And I went, oh my goodness, I'm myself. Only I'm a lot better of myself. A perfect me. Look, this is God's gift, right? Not only eternal life, but eternal youth, vibrancy, beauty. God gives you everything. He's so wonderful. So there's a lot to look forward to, okay? So I saw myself. I had the dark hair. My natural color was dark, okay? And dark long hair, and it looked very healthy, and my eyes were the same amber color, they've always been. And I had on a white robe type garment, a rounded neck, 3/4 sleeves that came just below my knees, and it looked like it was made out of some kind of like loosely woven linen is the best way I know to describe it, but it was white, and I thank Jesus for the white robe. Okay, that's a good thing. The Bible talks about that, the people in the white robes. Thank God. If you're going to heaven, you get your white robe. Thank you, Jesus. Washing our robes and making us clean. And I noticed that I was barefooted. And I was like, oh my goodness. On earth, I never wanted to go barefooted. I'm just not one of those barefooted people. But here it seemed perfectly normal and fine. I was so touched that the angel had calmed my fears this fast. And I said, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I'm so touched that you would do that for me. And as soon as I said thank you, the mirror-like object started dissipating, and it just went off into the atmosphere as we kept flying. It went off into the stars. So we kept going to the left. And now, suddenly, daylight was heading in on our left. When you're in an airplane and you pass over the daylight mark, that's what it's like. Now the clouds that were moving beneath me were very far beneath me, if indeed they were clouds. Something was moving far beneath me. I still don't know what it was because I was too busy looking in front of me at the most amazingly beautiful azure colored sky. It was just clear, beautiful vastness in front of us, and we kept moving to the left. Here comes the golden light coming in on my left. I asked the angel, is that heaven? I thought for a long time it was. As we came closer, I could almost sense a beautiful warmth from it, even though I didn't physically feel it. Because remember, I did not have my body with me. Even though I still felt like I felt things, looking back I realized, no, I actually didn't. I just knew that things were touching me, or I knew that things were, warmth was nearby, and I knew I had beautiful feelings of everything, but I did not have tactile feelings on my body because it wasn't with me. But things still felt so normal, if that makes any sense, that I didn't realize that I was missing any kind of sensation. So that's really an interesting thing, I think. So I really wondered if that light was heaven. So as we headed towards it, towards the left, we shot straight up again at great speed. Now, I realize now that was the sun. We were actually coming close to the sun. And now we were leaving, going to a higher atmosphere, a higher heaven over earth. As we shot up, I glanced down to look at the beautiful azure sky just fading away beneath us. So I knew we were rising very fast again. And as we went up, we were heading into a more murky, grayish sort of atmosphere above the earth. That's what I call the second atmosphere. So now we didn't stay there long. And then we shot up again, and I could feel that same sensation of like a wave coming down on top of me and going through me. So then I knew we were in a third atmosphere above heaven, or as people would call it, a third heaven above earth. And now it was very dark, but I could see in the distance, out of the corner of my eye, I could see on my left, far away, up and far in the distance, I could see golden light again, like I'd seen in the sun, but this was farther away. So I knew now with all my heart that that light was heaven, because we started heading towards it, and then we started speeding up as we got closer to that light. The bright golden light of heaven was coming in, and now the atmosphere was raising to beautiful violets, cobalt blue, pinks, as we're coming closer to the golden light of heaven, which is lighting out through the atmosphere. And as I just was filled with such joy and happiness, and at this moment I knew, just like I believe every person knows who's going to heaven, who's had to leave children behind, I knew in this moment that God would take care of my son. For the first time, I felt at peace that God would take care of him. The closer we got to heaven, the more my euphoria raised. We started speeding to the left, as if he was rushing me to the gates. And I was like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. And as it came closer and closer, I had to catch myself. I thought to myself, what am I doing? What I need to do, if I still can, is to go back to earth and tell people what I've seen. People will believe if they hear it from somebody who's been this far and seen this much. They will believe. That's what I thought. What am I going to do? I want to keep going. But I couldn't help but think of people on earth. What if me going back would change just one person's life for eternity, and they end up here where I'm at instead of hell, as so many people are? And so I really did not want to do this, but I had to. I came to the decision I had to go back. I had to try to go back. So I called out to the angel who was carrying me, and I said, wait, stop, I have to go back. I was shocked that he did not turn me around right away, but suddenly, abruptly, he set me down to stand on something. And as he set me down to stand, he stepped back behind me, and my arms went down to my sides. Both arms went down to my side, and I was standing there, and all the angels backed away from me, behind me, and he, the same angel who talked to me, said to me from behind, don't turn around, wait here. And I was like, what? What? It was outside the gates of heaven, and the light of heaven, the golden light of heaven now was so close where he had set me down. It was like maybe 100 yards to my left, and it was like a mountain of fire. I call it light made of fire that doesn't burn. It's just beautiful. It's just fire just shrouding heaven on my left in my peripheral view, and it was like the size of a mountain. The fire was so beautiful, and I knew it was heaven. I knew it was my home. I knew I was supposed to go in, but I couldn't make myself do it. I was determined not to look directly at it, because if I did, I knew I would not be able to force myself to come back so I could tell other people what I'd seen. My angels have left. They've gone away. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm standing here by myself. I'm going to absorb the scene before me so I can take all this information back to my fellow man and tell people on earth what it's like outside the gates of heaven, because it was stunningly beautiful. No one's ever stood in such a beautiful waiting room as outside the gates of heaven, because heaven's light was shining in on my left and shining out into the vast atmosphere, bringing it to bright sunrise colors, magnificent colors that seemed to be alive and vast. I could see through the vastness. Now, interesting thing was, up against, in front of me, against heaven's golden light, like a mountain going that way, there was shooting stars everywhere, like they're celebrating. It was like fireworks going off, like they were alive and just streaming throughout the atmosphere, like they were celebrating the entrance of heaven. Moving in front of me, moving towards heaven, there was these beautifully huge, maybe the length of football fields, beams of light just coming in towards heaven slowly. I mean, there were numerous of them. It was like kind of like the light you would see behind a rocket or something. I mean, it was like white light on the front, streaming back to golden light, and just streaming these long streaming streams of light going in. And I wondered, are those angels bringing more people to heaven? Is that what those are? Or is that starlight being drawn in to heaven's light? I don't know what it was, but I can only describe it to you. Now, I totally believe that the angels had just left to go ask God or check it with him or get permission from him to take me back because, well, maybe most people never asked to go back. I don't know, but I totally believed they would be back. I never, ever was afraid that the angel and all the angels had abandoned me because they'd taken such good care of me so far. Then I started thinking, oh my goodness, what in the world am I standing on? So I looked down, and when I looked down, I saw my bare feet standing on what appeared to be glass. I was like, what in the world is this? So I thought, okay, this is it. The angels are not behind me. The angel told me not to look, but I can't believe I disobeyed him. But I felt like, well, they're not behind me, so I can't get in trouble for looking at them. So I will just peek really fast over my left shoulder, not look at heaven on my left, but just try to see what's behind me, to see if it's more glass. And so I can't believe I did this, but I did. I'm ashamed that I did, but I actually disobeyed the angel. I mean, I thought, it went through my head so fast. I was like, hey, I gotta do it now. And hey, I'm in heaven. What's anybody gonna do to me? I'm God's daughter. I mean, I'm just trying to help people back on earth. I'm gonna look and see what's behind me. I just glanced over my left shoulder real quick. And when I did, I was stunned. I was like, oh my goodness. Standing behind me from my left all the way back into heaven's golden light was a line of people silently standing behind me. I thought, oh my goodness, how have you been here so quiet? These people were beautiful. They all looked to be about the same age that I looked to be, as I'd seen my own reflection, about 25, 30-ish, all in the prime of their life, all beautiful. Obviously beautiful forever. There were men and there were women. I didn't know who they were. Now other life after deathers say their family, their past relatives came out to meet them, and that's probably who they were, but I didn't know. And I can tell you that all of them, they would not look at me. They were staring out in the same direction I was supposed to be staring at, looking straight ahead like I was supposed to. They wouldn't talk to me. I said, who are you? They wouldn't answer me. They would not look directly at me. And they all seemed to be visibly on their face upset with me asking to go back. I could not understand this. I thought, aren't I asking to do something good? To try to help people? I don't understand. I mean, believe me, everything inside of me, my heart, my soul, everything, wanted to run into those gates, to go into heaven, because I could only imagine the joys that awaited me inside the gates. If everything was so magnificent that I'd seen so far, without even getting inside of heaven, believe me, I wanted to go see what was in there. But I was trying to stop myself so I could go back and help people on earth, just with my testimony. So I didn't know why they were upset with me. And then all of a sudden, the man closest to me, right over my left shoulder, as I looked at him, he looked at me and he started It's like he slid up in his age. Like, I did not know that people in heaven can kind of slide their age. It appears that our age forever in heaven is like 25 to 30. Strong, young, beautiful, but each one looking completely as an individual, like you did on earth, only better, made perfect, you know. But it appears from this guy, as I watched do this, that you can slide up and down in your age as you choose. And other life after death have said they saw people do this too. So I'm not the first one to say it. I've heard it since I've been back. I heard it a few years ago, someone say that they saw Moses and somebody up there as a teenager running around. The angel told him who he was. Him and David running around. So that was pretty fascinating, because I thought, well, that's what I saw. I saw that they can change their ages somehow. They can appear older or younger. I'm assuming younger. But they can slide up and down in their ages. Now, this person had slid up in his age to become old. And I say him. At the time, I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman, because the gray, kind of longish hair, kind of wild hair, and they were all wearing white robes like mine. This man stared at me very intensely, trying to make me recognize him. And I looked at him, I was flabbergasted. I was like, okay, I know you're trying to make me understand who you are. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I realized this was a man. He was looking at me with his, the best I can describe it is gray blue eyes. And he was like piercing his eyes through me. And he was very, very upset looking. And I thought, wow. Now, I don't understand who you are, and I'm sorry, but why would anybody look upset in heaven? I just did not have a clue as to what was going on. These people, all of them, were very upset with me going back. I didn't understand that. I didn't know that then. I do realize that now. But, now who was that person? Let me tell you. Since then, I have realized who it most likely was. And considering what was to happen next, I believe that's correct. My family from Fredericksburg, Virginia, is related to George Washington through his sister Mary. And I happen to be born in Mary Washington Hospital also on her birthday. My grandmother has always told us the lineage and stuff, but a lot of people in America are kin to George Washington, and some know it and some don't know it. And so I believe with all my heart, standing behind me was George Washington. And you are going to understand why when you see what happened next. So when he was looking at me so sternly, I suddenly became nervous and said, oh my goodness, I obviously better turn back around, because he's pretty upset with. So I did. I turned back around the way I was supposed to be looking, and I just stood there and I said to myself, I'm not going to disobey again. I'm not going to look when I'm not supposed to look again. Okay, because I was determined. I've got to go back now. Every turn of the page was something more that I simply had to go back and tell people on earth. So then all of a sudden, as I was standing there, and all my past relatives, I'm assuming they were standing there, I feel the presence of angels. Although the interesting thing is, I knew they were not my original angels. I did not sense them at this moment. I sensed other angels. And I sensed warrior angels. So, all of a sudden, all these angels were coming out of heaven on my left, and they were filling up behind me. And I was like, oh my goodness, am I in trouble? I mean, is it wrong to ask to go back when you've been this far? I thought, maybe I'm in trouble. Maybe that's why everybody's upset looking. Maybe I'm in trouble. I couldn't believe it. I thought, why would I be in trouble? I'm trying to do something good.